Welcome to Sinister Heroes. After a long hiatus, we've come back. We are revitalized and reinvigorated with our love for the game. It has been a little bit. We've gone through a lot of ups and downs, but we are back and we now have that fire that we had when we started that we seriously felt we were lacking, and we apologize if it felt that way to you guys too. But we're back. We're excited. Big thank you to Critical Failures. We're part of a live stream game. Check us out Wednesday nights. It's a lot of fun. You can see all of our episodes from the first session all the way to now. A big thank you to our Patreon supporters. We love you guys. Thank you so much for everything you do. It's really inspiring that you guys have stuck with us and help keep this going forward. And we really owe you a lot to keep pushing this and bringing back that love and fire that we had. And a big thank you to all you guys who've continued to watch us this entire time. You're an inspiration. We love communicating with you guys. We love to see what stuff you're doing. We love to see your campaigns you're in. So definitely keep commenting us and letting us know what's going on with you. We really appreciate it. A long spiel. I promise the rest of them will not be like that, but we're coming back into it, and it feels like we're starting over anew, and it feels great. So we're going to start this with the Tattooed Warrior Monk. The Tattooed Warrior Monk is Unearth Arcana, but it is really exciting to see kind of what they're doing and what kind of new things are going to come up, and it's exciting. We love talking about classes, so here we go. We're going to read the flavor text, and so that way we could all get an idea. This is our first time really going through it, so here we go. Drawing from diverse body marking traditions from across the multiverse, tattooed warriors can use arcane power imbued in their magic tattoos. These monks gain tattoos as they grow in martial prowess and insight. Tattooed warriors can use their tattoos to change shape and to access a versatile suite of physical and magical effects to overcome foes. All right, I've definitely seen this before, where like tattoos would move on a character and they might be able to do something different. You've seen a lot of snakes do this, and then they have like hypnotic abilities or some sort of way of shooting snakes out or something. So this already seems pretty cool based on how it's written out. I like that. It gives a theme behind it. I can really understand that. I have tattoos. I like tattoos. So this will be really interesting to give that kind of like flavor text to it. And at level 3, you gain magic tattoos. You gain the magic tattoos described by other features of the subclass. Tattoos appear on your body whenever you wish. Damage or injury doesn't impair your magic tattoo's function. A magic tattoo's depiction can look like a brand, scarification, a birthmark, patterns of scale, or any other cosmic alteration. If a tattoo's effect requires a saving throw, the DC equals 8 plus your wisdom modifier plus your proficiency bonus. Your spellcasting ability for spells granted by tattoos is wisdom. This is straight across the board for any character that has a saving throw mechanic. They usually base it on either wisdom, charisma, intelligence. Occasionally you'll see like rogues have some with dexterity. I believe the barbarian might have 1 or 2 based on strength. That all kind of depends on what class you have. But for monks, this has been wisdom. This has been wisdom from day 1, so this isn't anything unusual to us. Whenever you finish a long rest, you can reshape one of your magic tattoos, changing the options you choose from one list to another option on the same list. So we're going to see kind of how that breaks down. But the first set of tattoos you get is a beast tattoo. You gain 2 animal tattoos. Choose 2 tattoos from the following options. Bat, you know the dancing light cantrip. When you expend 1 focus point to use patient defense or step of the wind, you gain blind sight with a range of 10 feet for 1 minute. That could be really useful further in the game. And not so much early on, but blind sight in the right kind of circumstances can be really great, especially in endgame where you fight a lot of invisible things and there are a lot of entities that might be flowing around that could have invisibility and really be a detriment to you. Also, early on, if you're doing work with a warlock or a shadow sorcerer and they are using darkness, this gives you that ability to get in there and mix it up and be that kind of barrier between them. So now you're not just that one character in the darkness, now you can have 2. And that can make a very, very cool dynamic, especially if one of you's in the front and the other one's in the back. Obviously, the monk would kind of be the one in the front for this. That blind sight for a minute would give you everything you need with a range of 10 feet to do everything necessary. They might even cast it on you and stay within the range of you. So that way when you move, everything moves with you, which could be really, really cool from a tactical standpoint. The second one is the butterfly. You know the light cantrip, and you can expend 1 focus point to cast Silent Image without material components. Silent Image is a illusion. It is one of those spells that depends on how creative you are to use it. It's going to go either and be incredible or it's going to be really lackluster. So this is one of those things that if you're great with illusions, if you have a DM that's really great with illusions, this can be a huge impact in your game, especially if you're talking about heavy RP scenarios or talking about like espionage and infiltration things. This can be a very big movement for you and a very big opportunity for you to show off one of your abilities. The third is the chameleon. You know the minor illusion cantrip. Again, with minor illusion, silent image, depending on how creative you are, makes the bigger impact with it. And you can expend 1 focus point to cast Disguise Self. That's more of an RP scenario kind of circumstance. At least that's how it reads to me. I believe that can be very, very big depending on your circumstance, because now the bard or the warlock doesn't have to go off on their own and do something crazy. Now they have backup, you know? And you do have the opportunity to change some of these as depicted previously in the ability. So that does give you a couple of options depending on where you are, making you a little bit more versatile. The fourth is the crane. You know the guidance cantrip, which is already really great. When you miss a creature with an attack granted by your flurry of blows, you have advantage on attack rolls for any remaining unarmed strikes that use a flurry of blows. That's written really strange, but that's a good way to kind of stabilize your damage. So that's really interesting. Huh. That's more of a mechanical one. It's interesting on a standpoint of just straight damage dealing, but it is an interesting way to get that option. And guidance is useful all of the time. The next one is horse. You know the message cantrip, and you can expend 1 focus point to cast Longstrider without material components. I'll be honest, I'll probably never see that in game. I don't particularly like Longstrider. Message can be useful, but it's not exactly something that's really within the kit of the monk to need. The next is Spider. You know the mending cantrip. When you hit a creature with an attack granted by your flurry of blows, the creature has disadvantage on its next attack roll before the start of your next turn. That's great. That is awesome. Mending is circumstantial to what you're doing. You probably won't use it past the earlier parts of the game, because very rarely are you really going to be repairing stuff. But disadvantage on the enemy's next attack is very, very good. Early on, it's great because they'll probably only have 1 attack per round. Later on, anything that can help reduce the amount of times you get hit is a benefit. The final beast tattoo you can gain is the tortoise. You know the spare the dying cantrip, and you can expend 1 focus point to cast False Life without material components. False Life is good early on. It's not so great later on. I can't imagine this having a lot of impact when you're level 8, 9, and 10, but you know, False Life is temporary HP. You take that as a defensive measure that just removes that amount of damage when you take a hit. Starting at level 6, you gain Celestial Tattoo. You gain an additional magic tattoo depicting a celestial phenomenon. Choose a tattoo from the following options. Comet. You can expend 2 focus points to cast Find Traps. Crescent Moon. You can expend 2 focus points to cast Misty Step. Eclipse. You can expend 2 focus points to cast Invisibility without material components. Sunburst. You can expend 2 focus points to cast Lesser Restoration. Now, these are not so impactful to me personally. As a monk, your wisdom is pretty high, so your ability to perceive traps normally is going to be pretty high, especially if you pick proficiency in perception. Again, also that's going to up your passive perception, which is going to make it pretty easy for you to notice those things anyway. Misty Step is great, but I feel like there's a lot of different ways that you can get an ability to teleport, especially at this point. Again, that would be pretty great, but you could use some of your other abilities to get basically the same effect. Invisibility can be useful, absolutely. Lesser Restoration, depending on what your party is, might depict as to whether or not you actually need this. It can come in handy, absolutely. It can save the game in a bunch of scenarios, yes. But is it something I really want as a monk at level 6? Definitely not. But let's see what you get at level 11. The Nature Tattoo. You gain an additional magic tattoo depicting a natural feature. Choose a tattoo from the following option. Mountain. As a magic action, you can expend 3 focus points to gain resistance to acid damage and advantage on constitution saving throws for a minute. Storm. As a magic action, you can expend 3 focus points to gain resistance to lightning damage and advantage on dexterity saving throws for a minute. Volcano. As a magic action, you can expend 3 focus points to gain resistance to fire damage and advantage on strength saving throws for 1 minute. And Wave. As a magic action, you can expend 3 focus points to gain resistance to cold damage and advantage on wisdom saving throws for 1 minute. This is actually, it's a hefty price. 3 focus points is a lot. But resistance for a minute, when you know you're going to be doing something that's going to like actually give you these damage types, is very, very big. Again, you're a monk. You're rocking a D8 hit die. You're not doing a D10. You're not jumping up past that. You are in a scenario where these can make a very big difference, which is really cool. Especially the higher up you go, damage-wise, level-wise, you will start seeing things that will deal acid damage. You're fighting a black dragon, absolutely this is going to make a big difference for you. This is going to save the day in a bunch of scenarios. And when you're fighting specific things done like this, it's great. It's absolutely worth it. That defensive stuff will give you such a push and really make you go the distance. Now the final tattooed warrior monk ability you gain at level 17 is Monster Tattoo. You gain a magic tattoo depicting a supernatural creature. Choose a tattoo from the following options. Beholder. You have a fly speed of 10 feet and can hover. Additionally, you can expend 3 focus points to cast Counterspell. Blink Dog. When you expend a focus point to use Patient Defense, you can expend 3 focus points to cast Blink immediately after that bonus action. Displacer Beast. When you expend a focus point to use Flurry of Blows or Step of the Wind, you can expend 2 focus points to cast Mirror Image immediately after that bonus action. Guardian Naga. When you would be reduced to 0 hit points but not outright killed, your hit points instead change to a number equal to twice your monk level. Once you use this benefit, you cannot use it again until you finish a long rest. Now, level 17 is a high level. Most of the time, you will not see this. But let me tell you, Displacer Beast with that mirror image is always a benefit. Even if you're fighting something that has 4 attacks per round, if it wastes 3 of them hitting your images, that is absolutely worth it. Blink Dog can be really, really great as well. Counterspell. Having an additional person that has access to Counterspell can be amazing. Also, you can fly and you have hover. Granted, it's 10 feet is not a lot, but you always have that on. You don't have to waste a focus point to cast that for a few minutes. Guardian Naga, anything that will change you from dying outright is pretty grand. That is a really strong ability. So what does this mean, being a tattooed warrior monk? Now, the monk as its own base class got a lot of improvements from 2024. If you're not playing the 2024 rules as a monk, you really should be. Do yourself a favor, do it. It makes no sense for you not to. But what makes a tattooed warrior monk great? Like, what makes it so interesting? I like the themology behind it. I like the theme of, like, you know, constantly giving yourself tattoos and them having, like, really, really intricate things. I feel like it gives you a lot of versatility. It gives you a lot of options to kind of, like, switch things out or do other things that a normal monk couldn't. The fact that you have a bunch of different options for cantrips and spells you can use, especially special abilities you can use as well. Depending on your teammate, you can really work well with a lot of different entities and really make your character use their wisdom and have that cause them to be versatile within a group. It gives you an opportunity to really mesh a little bit better within your group dynamic and pull up some things that maybe they're lacking. I mean, the fact that you can have lesser restoration, that is a big spell to have. It helps out a lot, especially when you're dealing with a bunch of different stuff, and especially in circumstances where you have other things like madness and things like that affecting you or affecting your party members or existing in the world that you're in. Nature Tattoo is great. It's a flat out damage resistance, and again, advantage on saving throws, depending on what kind of circumstance you're in. Wisdom is a good one, dexterity is a great one, con and strength aren't so great, but acid and fire are pretty common damage types. Those are some things you will really have to face. Fire more often than acid, but still, it is a great opportunity to make yourself go that much further. Say your barbarian is not resistant to those damage types. They will get chewed up with them. This will give you an opportunity to step up and take the pressure off. And that's a really unique thing for a monk. You can be more versatile. And I think that's actually pretty cool. I like the idea of going through these events that cause you to level up, that cause you to have these circumstances. Maybe you do fight a giant spider, or you see a sunburst, or a comet hits the town that you're in, or maybe you're next to a volcano, or you lost someone to a blink dog or a beholder. Now that becomes like an interesting aspect of your character. You can let the story almost affect who you are. And that's really, really interesting to me. Like, I'm in a party right now with a centaur. If he died, maybe I'd get a horse tattoo. You know what I mean? It could be something like that. And obviously, I tend to change the flavor of a lot of the stuff that I play with. I keep true to what the mechanics are, and I give the flavor a little bit something different. I doubt within my life I'll ever have a character with a butterfly tattoo, but I can get some sort of dragonfly or some sort of other like crazy looking insect and be able to use that in its stead. And I think that makes it a little bit more creative on my end and exciting for me. But the real kickoff here is that the monk is a pretty straightforward thing. You run in and you strike high priority targets that aren't really super tanky. That's kind of your gambit. You want to hit things with low constitution. You want to hit things like wizards, like archers, like rogues, and things like that. You want to stay away from heavy, thick armored things because again, they're probably going to grab you, keep you there, and beat you down. You're supposed to be a striker. You're supposed to go in, hit a bunch, get out. Go in, hit a bunch, get out. That's kind of what a monk does. And you have a variety of different attacks that can do different things from your base monk. So adding these things give you an out of combat ability as well as versatility out of combat, so you're not just standing on the side flexing the whole time hoping something interesting happens. It gives you stuff to do. It gives you stuff for being more involved in adventuring and sneaking around and role playing, because now you can be invisible, now you can cast disguise self, now you can use silent image, and you can use these things and you can switch them out, which is good. You can make those different choices whenever you need to based on what's coming ahead. And that's a great way to have a character that can do a lot and always be really useful and always feel really, really important in the moment. And that's something I kind of tend to like, because I don't like being characters that only do one thing, because it's not often that that one thing is coming up. You're usually trading that one thing for something else. And I'd hate to sit on the sidelines and just kind of wait, because that's really boring and it's just not what D&D is supposed to be. You got to throw your hat in the ring. You got to do something, because you really get what you put in D&D. All right, with that said and done, we're going to bring this video to a close. If you like what you saw, if you had anything, comments, disagreements, agreements, you've played this monk, definitely let me know. Definitely want to hear it in the comments. Love to hear from you guys. Absolutely love to get in contact with you guys, see what you're doing, see what's going on in your lives, see what kind of games you're playing, what characters you're invested in, and what things are interesting you. Definitely let us know. Happy to read it. Big thank you to our Patreon supporters. Again, we love you guys. Thank you so much. Let's try and see if we can boost up our Patreon supporters. We want to do big things, and we're really, really gunning for it now. We're hungry. We want it bad. A big thank you to our good friends at Critical Failures. Check us out Wednesday nights, part of a live stream game. If you ever have questions about my character or anything you want me to talk about, definitely let me know. If you guys really get interested in it, it's definitely something I could do as well, where I can do a recap, or I can do a recap from my character's perspective and do stuff like that. Very excited about it. Love the game that I'm in, and I'd like to do more stuff with that. And most importantly, thank you for giving a spooky kid a chance.